Hello and welcome to another episode of New Game Plus. I'm your host Jason, and it is a very interesting episode we have today. There's a lot of games coming out in this kind of last period before we have a bit of a break. And we have a break not only from video games, we have a break from doing the show, which unfortunately is something that we'll go into a little bit more detail at the end. But for now, we have Ori. We have a bit of a conversation about sports games, the lack of sports games that are out there at the moment, and we finish off with a bit of Nioh 2. But for now, something completely pudding.
Here we are. We're at GG Easy, perhaps Melbourne's best bar, definitely the best gamer bar. We're here to look at another classic. So the one thing that Australia is great for is random like Asian soft drinks in the Asian supermarkets. And one that I haven't seen before and I figured I'd try is the pudding shake. Pudding shake. It's a pudding flavored shake from Pocket Sapporo. I've never had it before. I'm going to shake it just to make sure that it's like thing. Yeah, I'm not going to die from anything in there. That's nice. Let's give it a go. See what it's like. Smells like pudding. Smells like pudding. It's chunky. Oh, it's chunky. It's like bits of pudding in there. Oh, it's like pudding jelly. Why? Oh my god. Okay, so what is it? I should have read it beforehand. No, but it doesn't say it has pudding jelly in there. That's terrifying. Powdered egg yolk, salt, gelling agent. There's your... Oh. It feels gross. It tastes fine. Feels gross. Review of Poker pudding shake. It would be great if it wasn't chunky. And I think that's a pretty good allegory for life.
Sorry, more pudding drink. I'm going to send you a review with Megan for Ori, which is way less gross than what just happened then.
Look, I know it was a few years ago now since Ori and the Blind Forest was released, but I've only just recovered from ugly crying from the incredibly emotional experience that the award-winning release delivered. I'll never forget that soulful journey that the game took me on, and the Will of the Wisps does not disappoint. The 2D puzzle adventure game created by first-party developers Moon Studios and published by Microsoft, it's clear for the team that the desire to create a sequel wasn't just about expanding Ori's fantastical world and telling a new story. It was also about improving their craft. Like, how could they make this even better? Will of the Wisps is a direct sequel that was announced over 2 years ago at E3 2017. And currently available on Xbox Game Pass and Steam, we're taken back to Nibel Forest in Naiwen and play as the lovable protagonist Ori, the White Guardian Spirit. Get ready to embark on an all-new adventure where you'll encounter enemies and navigate challenging puzzles, and I do mean challenging, on your quest to unravel Ori's true destiny. I really don't want to spoil the story too much, because isn't that one of the best parts? You know, if you're like me, being naturally talented at 2D platforming games, it does not come naturally to you, or perhaps you missed the first game, Ori and the Blind Forest, then firstly, go back and play the first one, but never fear. There are difficulty settings for normies and hardcore achievement hunting perfectionists. In fact, the further you get into Will of the Wisps, the more rage-inducing it gets. Definitely a lot of moments for me where I had to pull the controller down to play, and especially those boss fights, man. Essentially, Ori can jump, climb to new heights, and use other abilities to navigate throughout the incredibly diverse, twisty and turny forest. You basically start with nothing and gradually gain skills as you explore, and gain up to 12 abilities, 3 of which can be equipped at once. Jumping accurately and climbing at precise times is absolutely critical, and I'm constantly reminded about how bad at jumping I am. Will of the Wisps also adds things like spirit trials and combat shrines. Spirit trials have you race other players competing for a spot on the leaderboards. Combat shrines spawn waves of enemies that you must survive. Also, this time around, not everything in the game is trying to hurt you. Along the way, you'll meet characters that constantly give you side quests. Ori and the Will of the Wisps offers more variety to the map, the foes, the friends, and the bosses. There's also more complexity to its mechanics. Keystones, life orbs, and energy orbs are back again. Restore Ori's life and energy when you undoubtedly die 1,000 deaths and take damage throughout your journey. The godlike music is almost spiritual for all the feels, and the sound effects as you jump on different textured surfaces are super immersive. Even the lightning and thunder is mind-blowing. The noticeable differences from the first game are first and foremost, despite being a 2D game, the character models are actually 3D this time around. This allowed the designers to create a greater array of movement in the animations, which was really important with it was clear the new focus was fast-paced combat. The environment has incredible depth and breathtaking landscape visuals, with monsters lurking ominously in the background and stunning attention to detail on all the foreground elements. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is an ambitious sequel that is actually just not, if not more impressive than the last. It's one of the most visually stunning games I've ever seen. It's a hard game to master, and I'll never appreciate so many autosave points before. Once you get the hang of it, it's one of the most rewarding and breathtaking journeys that's available in the platforming genre.
Well, despite the gross intro, Megan, I've decided to bring you back on to discuss Ori. And
Thanks.
what's this one? Ori and the Blind Forest.
No, actually.
No.
Will of the Wisps.
Will of the Wisps.
Please.
Right, Blind Forest was
Didn't
the
you
first
listen to
one.
my review?
I did, but not well enough. Because you got to understand, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Ori. And when I say love-hate, I mean just mainly hate. Because my big issue with it was in the first one, as much as it was, and it was very pretty, and it was very evocative, and there was a lot of emotion behind it, the way the story wraps up, it just kind of negates
Yeah.
everything. And that kind of
Yeah.
dragged me out
It's
of
all
it.
or
I disagree.
nothing.
I think that the parts of the game that were good, that you think are still good, are not negated by the ending. The ending, sure, is not a great ending, but the rest of the game is still solid.
It's still fun, yeah.
They definitely took that on board, but my love-hate relationship with it is because I suck at platforming games,
Yeah.
and it was like unrelentlessly
Yeah.
tough. As I progressed, even in this game, it was savage, and
Yeah.
it made me feel like crap a lot.
Because the new one takes a little bit. It's almost borderline Hollow Knight. Like it's got a lot more
Right.
combat, a lot more
Will of the Wisps focuses mostly this time on combat and the complex mechanics behind the skill-based system and the passive skills.
Yeah, right.
So instead of it being a really simple pick-up-and-play platforming game, which Blind Forest absolutely was, this adds lots of layers. Like
It's a gamey game. It's more
a
of-
gamey
yeah.
game, and it's really out there for the perfectionists, people that want to, speed run through it. And there's actually, I think there's like a petition out there to bring it onto Switch already. People are frothing for it. It's definitely a
Well,
There's a
look,
global game.
precedent.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. So let's be real. I mean, so Cuphead obviously is on Switch. Phil Spencer's already said, "Hey, we're bros, man. Like, there's no beef here."
Totally.
And
Word for word.
Yeah, and so it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised because it is a Switch game, like for all
Yeah.
intents and purposes.
Well, actually, Jack and I saw it at PAX. Was it PAX?
No, it was.
I saw it at PAX.
What's the sponsored by JB Hi-Fi one? The
Oh,
MEO.
MEO.
That was
Yeah.
in not 2019 or even 18. Oh, maybe it was 18. I think
was 18,
MEO
it's only been off 2 years,
So we
yeah.
saw it was that 2 years ago, basically?
Yeah.
And it was hot garbage.
Wasn't
it was
polished.
Not polished.
Yeah.
And the combat felt really weird. Probably feels a bit better in final game.
I think the
But
frame rate was a bit average, and to be honest, when
Yeah.
I first saw it and first heard it was announced, I was like, what's it going to be more special than the first one? Is it just going to be a carbon copy? And I definitely think they've perfected it. I think there's a lot of value in this sequel, and I cried a whole bunch of times. I'm definitely not going to lie about that.
So
it
it's-
had all the feels and all the right times.
Because that is the question. Because when Bioshock 1 has a very similar thing. Bioshock 1 was such an experience, and that last bit of the game was actually bad. Like the gameplay itself wasn't great, and the ending was awful. Bioshock 2 was a better game, but a kind of a lesser story. And it seems to me that's kind of Will of the Wisp. But it seems to me like you at least got what you wanted out of
That's
the story.
correct. There was a lot of twists and turns. The story really delivered for me. I didn't actually mind it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, what about you, Jackie boy? Are you going to play it now, or?
I mean, I think I'm going to do the cheeky get Xbox Live Gold into Ultimate to be
Yeah.
able to get it.
Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored content.
Not sponsored. Absolutely
The
not.
Game Pass is so worth it.
I
Don't
wish,
say it. Don't say it too loud. Don't make you redo a take.
dude, I wish we got money for this. But I'm keen to check it out, not necessarily because I'm like, oh, I'm going to love it as much as the first one. If I wanted to do that, I'd just go back and play the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the definitive edition on PC actually added a bunch of content as well.
Right,
So
okay.
that would actually be something new to me as well.
Yeah.
It's also been ages since the last game. So
Yeah, 5
that would be
years.
worth getting into. But if anything, I'm keen to check it out, kind of like with Animal Crossing, changed my mind. And yeah, not necessarily be as invested in, but just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
There
To
you
be
go.
honest, it was like one of the more complex 2D platforming side-scroller games just due to the depth of the story and the combat itself.
There you go. Well, don't forget, Game Pass is great, and that's basically the takeaway from everything we've just said.
Welcome to another edition of Quiz Time Events. My name is Noddled, and it's a strange one. We are in the middle of a COVID outbreak, which has dominated basically everything, but there is still some video game news, I promise, and I've got Matt, Megan, and Jason here to join me through these times. How's it going, guys?
It's my first time here.
I wonder who's going to cheat me this time.
I'm born for this, so watch out.
We were locked in here.
Yeah.
Do you want
No,
to explain
don't-
the rules, Donald? Not that they'll listen.
The rule is you have to answer questions correctly. When I finish the question, hands up, say your name as your buzzer, and if you get enough points, you will win this week's trophy, which is this invisible imaginary trophy because you can't be too safe. So,
I've always wanted
Jason,
one.
if you want to win one of these,
Yeah, great. Maybe more social distancing.
I mean, we've got that's about social distancing, right? Yep,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Yeah, so by the way, we are recording this on the 19th of March 2020. So by the time you watch this, it could all be hilariously out of date. But you know what? Let's just persevere with these questions. First question. You can't answer this one, Meg. EA, Ubisoft, and Rockstar are just some of the companies that have done what in response to the coronavirus outbreak?
Demand more crunch hours.
Close. Jason?
Have they gone to like fully like work from home? thing?
Yes, they've implemented work from home policies. Jason, can I work from home for the next 3? 4?
Yeah. Start now. Great.
Great,
Yeah,
thanks.
just leave the
thanks.
questions and just
Straight
start
up,
now.
right?
Okay, cool.
I actually wanted to establish why isn't this a Google Hangout?
Yeah. Probably Twitch streaming right now.
Okay, 60,000 fans gathered to watch a soccer match between Real Betis and Sevilla. Where did they gather?
It was like it was watching Twitch, wasn't it? Because there's like
Yes.
the FIFA match.
Yes, because all sports have been cancelled.
Yes.
So various sporting teams have resorted to playing FIFA or NBA or Formula
it's a
One
bit
on
rude
Twitch.
you've asked two EA questions. He screwed you from the start.
Yeah,
If I
really,
win,
I
I
definitely
apologise
did.
in
I
advance.
do like the fact that like the F1 driver Lando
I'll take it.
Norris actually ended up playing
privilege to
F1
be here.
2019
Yeah.
jumping on right after the Australian Grand Prix. got
Yeah, that was
cancelled.
really
Yeah.
cool, and because I know supercars are doing that as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Supercars are doing all the drivers are just going to race in virtual. That's really
Like
cool.
Luke,
awesome.
all my favorite DJs are live streaming this weekend.
Yeah.
They're like, joining
Rampage
Instagram.
got cancelled,
Yeah,
I know,
yeah. I'm having like a silent disco in my own house.
They got time. They got time.
Headphones on.
Yeah, just
I can't wait to go download tomorrow. Oh. Konami announced, so you can actually answer this one, man.
thanks.
Konami announced DLC for which sporting event 3 days before that event was postponed?
It's got to be UEFA. UEFA?
Does Euro 2020 count as UEFA, Cardi?
Yeah.
Euro.
The Death Stranding Deliver-thon. Oh, sorry, no, you said Konami, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
getting-
yeah.
Is it Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games?
I mean, like by the time this goes to air, it could be entirely changed.
I think we need to.
I
do
don't
that.
know.
As it
yeah.
stands, Tokyo 2020 Olympics is still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check your local advisory for more information.
At time
Yes,
of
yes,
print.
yes. We will be going to enjoying the fine Olympic feats of Mr. Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like UEFA is Euro 2020.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So
Nice work.
so basically, like amidst these COVID times, we're all socially distancing from each other and playing more video games online. So I'm going to make you try and guess to the closest number. What milestone number of concurrent users did Steam recently hit? I'll
them
start with
first.
you. Kat.
1 billion?
Price is right. You can't go highest without going over. Closest without going over.
Okay, we're going to go 950 million.
950 million.
I'm going to say, I'll stick with 1 million.
1 million.
Yeah.
So it's closest without going over?
Yes, Price
So
is
that
Right
is
rules.
19,999,999. Because the answer is 20 million.
You looked at my answer
Yeah,
beforehand,
I did.
didn't
I'm
you?
just a fucking loser. Like, don't think that I'm cheating. I'm
That's
just a
wild.
fucking
No, yeah,
miscreant.
20 million
What
concurrent
dates was that?
users on Steam.
That's so cool.
I just realized I
Oh,
said
they were all playing
950
Counter-Strike.
million.
Yes.
And I'm
did say
like, I think there are
950
many
million.
PCs in the world, probably, but I was going to say 950,000, but I already underestimated. So.
Can I have a bonus point if I get another sequentially part of that factoid?
Sure.
That most of the players were playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive, actually. Out of those, that was like the highest ranking
I'll
game.
give you a point, yeah, but 1 million, first time that game has hit 1 million concurrent players, so I'll give you the bonus point for that one.
And the rest of them were playing Plague Inc.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And the same 100 people were playing on the Australian Dota server.
Oh.
And Anna's 5-stack coming to a 3K match.
I thought we were already sad with the COVID thing, but you just made it even sadder,
Yeah, it's
Jason.
true, it is,
Okay,
yeah.
just in other news, who recently resigned from the Microsoft board of directors?
Me, Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is correct.
Oh, man.
Fun fact: in his resignation letter, in the signature, he said, "Sent from my iPhone."
I mean, he's made his
something I would
money
do.
out of it. It's time
Yeah.
to just, yeah.
Yeah.
Reporters Without Borders created a virtual library of censored works in what game?
Fuck.
Yep.
It's Minecraft, but yeah.
Minecraft is correct. Yeah, so you can go in there, you can see the works, see the works of various journalists whose works have been censored, and other censored works, including my Shrek and Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction. Society isn't ready for it yet.
Got to go fast like an onion.
I mean, that's not how I expect. That's not how my fan fiction ends. That.
Yeah, yeah.
GTA fans use the topography of DLC racetracks to reach what conclusion?
That the hot coffee mod is overrated. And wait.
So they use the topography of racetracks,
Yes.
of real racetracks or racetracks?
Of DLC racetracks.
DLC.
To reach what conclusion?
I would imagine the actual length of the entire thing. Like, I imagine it's like the length of the world.
No.
No?
Meg?
No, I've got no idea.
They reached the conclusion, because some of the topography looks like Miami or Mexico, that GTA 6 may possibly be set in Vice City.
Right.
I
okay,
also reached
that's
that
cool.
conclusion, but I just used good old-fashioned pattern recognition.
I'm here for a good golden nugget if I've ever heard one, but that is a stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is, let's put on our best surprised faces when that game ends up being based in Vice City.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
And like 75% of the game is just shark cards.
Yeah, I like your surprised face the best. You get 1 point.
I tried really hard.
Yeah, I think I could cheat this game now. Yeah, I'll just keep
Yeah,
using
that's how it works.
that face.
Matt, don't worry about it.
I'll use
God
my Jeff
damn it.
Gerstmann face from
God
Giant Bomb.
damn it.
Sorry,
Finally, Sony and Microsoft unveiled specifications of their upcoming consoles.
Yeah, they
now,
did.
specs are incredibly boring. Let's make it slightly less boring. I'm going to give you 2 numbers. Tell me which one is higher.
Nice.
What is higher? The PlayStation 5's memory bandwidth in gigabytes, or the number of times the F word is used in the film Uncut Gems? Matt, which one's higher? Memory bandwidth or Uncut Gems?
I can definitely count the amount of over-the-shoulder cinematic 24 frames per second games are going to be on the PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
but I'm going to have to go with the F words.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go F words as well. No doubt.
Jason?
Memory bandwidth.
Memory bandwidth is correct. 448 gigabytes versus 408 swear words. So you could say that console is effing quick.
Nice.
So the lesson learned is do not ever listen to me.
Yeah.
What is
panicked.
higher? The system memory of the Xbox Series X in gigabytes, or the number of seconds the World Health Organization requires you to wash your hands?
Oh,
What is higher? Matt?
Obviously the WHO thing.
WHO?
I'm going to go with the Xbox specs.
No, you should have listened to him on this one. It's the WHO. 'Cause it's 1200.
It's the WHO, yeah. 20 to 30 seconds versus 16 gigabytes worth of system memory. Remember, kids,
I'll learn my
wash
lesson.
your hands.
I told you about that competitive edge.
Yeah.
I got you.
What is higher? The number of cores in the PlayStation 5 CPU, or the highest recorded number of tennis balls held in a dog's mouth?
Oh.
I like how I used to think about this.
Yeah, no, because I know the number, so I have to work out which one's
Sony,
where.
I believe that Sony's not going to make the same mistake they did with
Yeah.
the PlayStation 3, and I'm going to go with the amount of cores in a PlayStation.
Cores.
I'll go balls in a dog's mouth.
So the dog's mouse was like 40 something, and I'm pretty sure the PS4 has like 56 cores. It has more cores
5,
at the lower thing.
4,
Yeah, it's a cores.
3.
It's a cores.
Cores?
It's a cores.
It is cores. But how many balls do you think fit in the dog's
It was
mouth?
like 30 something, wasn't it?
8 cores. 5 balls in dog mouth. It's also a very adorable photo. You should look it up.
Oh, so I went for, don't worry, I went for GPU cores. It's fine.
Finally, what is
CUs.
taller? The Empire State Building or 1,400 Xbox Series X's stacked on top of one
Oh
another?
my God.
I'm going to go with, because we know the specs now,
Yeah.
right?
What
I'm
is
gonna go
taller?
with the Xboxes.
1400 Xboxes,
Yes.
yeah?
Xboxes?
It's a very
Meg?
particular
I'll
number.
definitely go Xboxes.
Xboxes?
So the Xboxes are about 30 centimeters tall, and the Empire State Building is like 400 meters tall or something, 385 meters tall or something like
I
that.
say
definitely
something.
So
messed
it's
up
got to be the
again.
Empire State Building.
I think you're looking at the Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
You're right, though.
And I'm also a fucking loser. I
it
told
is-
you at the start of the goddamn
It's the
thing.
Empire State Building, 443 meters to the tip versus 421 meters for the Xbox Series X. 421 is also the number of consoles that will be at launch because of supply issues.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, 421.
Zinger.
No,
Ah.
You know how
So-
many
That was a great
exclusives as well?
finale.
Yeah.
I already used that joke last
Yeah.
time, didn't I? Yeah.
Okay, at the end of all that, Matt, you have ended up on. Actually, no, for that segment, I'm going to give you, Matt, 2 points. I'm going to give Meg 1 point. And
That's
Jason,
fine.
you got 3 points
I'll roll
for
with
getting
it.
the most of those correct. So, at the end of the day, Matt has ended up on 5 points. Megan has ended up on 3 points. And Jason has won the imaginary trophy for once with 11 points.
Because they didn't cheat. You see what happens when people
Here,
don't fucking
catch your
cheat?
imaginary
Oh my
trophy.
God.
Cat
This
1,
is a first,
2.
a great first go.
Oh, you broke it now. You're going to have to go to the imaginary trophy guy to go and fix it. With
Yeah, get your
glue.
imaginary glue.
So the lesson for you guys is cheat. Cheat hard, cheat often. That's how Jack wins, and that's. And to be fair, Glee is Like, see, me and Glia, it's
I'm
one
just
of
going
those
to leave
like.
you to your rambling.
Glia's
Thank
like
you
my
very
Vegeta.
much. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in to Quiz Time events.
I'll be back.
The next one may not be in here, who knows? But you know what? Until then, stay safe and remember, wash your hands. 20, 30 seconds, longer than the Xbox Series X's memory.
Cardi takes a look at adult yokai watch in Nioh 2.
Well, the end of March 2020 has come and gone, bookending yet another Japanese financial year. The best part of that is, of course, the smorgasbord of highly awaited game releases direct from our northern neighbours. That's Japan for those playing at home. Though there is one I've kept my eyes fervently trained on, the follow-up to one of my favourite games of 2017, Nero II. Right from the get-go, Nero II throws a few curveballs, offering a similar experience to the original game, but dresses it up a little bit differently. The game serves as a prequel, set several decades before, as you play a customizable half-human, half-yokai named Hide, who traverses through the demon-infested lands of Japan. As the end of Sengoku period brings about ruthless warlords attempting to usher in their own ideas of prosperity and ambition, Hide must also be as wary of humanity as they are of yokai. So for those who haven't played the original game, Nero II is what's described as a masocore game with a very heavy emphasis on visceral combat and an endearing focus on Japanese folklore, peppered with real-life historical figures. Playable levels are divided into main story and side chapters that help to level up your character with a resource called Amrita. From there, you can choose to level particular attributes that help you max your health, ki, weight class, weapon proficiencies, and much more. A lot of that can describe the first title in the series, but this is where Nero II deviates and expands upon its solid foundations. The biggest change in Nero II is the introduction of the anima gauge, which powers the dormant yokai abilities inside you. The handiest addition to your arsenal is the burst counter, which will stop enemies and their unblockable attacks dead in their tracks, while collectible soul cores from tougher enemies can be mapped to 2 additional slots to your yokai loadout. These changes keep you on your toes at all times and seek to reiterate the point that Nero is a series that prides itself on reactive counter-based strategies, and the comparisons to games like Onimusha or Ninja Gaiden couldn't be any more obvious. Yokai also come in different forms depending on the guardian spirit you equip, each with their own movesets and burst counter timings. For example, speedier yokai forms are more beneficial for higher dexterity builds, and ranged benefit from those who spec magic first. In the original game, guardian spirits could be activated to buff your weapon power and were a fairly one-note ordeal, so it's great to see a Nero II try to flesh them out a bit better. As for the weapons, 2 new types join the roster, such as the ninjutsu inclined hatchets and my personal favourite, the switchglaive. This weapon is the epitome of versatility, as each stance can be comboed into each other and serve different purposes. High stance brings great stun, low stance is perfect for high DPS combos, and so on. It really feels like a weapon that's been ripped straight out of Bloodborne, and it really pays dividends for some of the more aggressive Neo players. While we're on the topic of weapons, I need to air my dirty laundry with my biggest gripe of the game, the Diablo-style loot system. I get that it was like that in the first game, so it's pretty much impossible to overhaul the system, but the rate and severity in which you gain loot completely trivializes some of the more intimate mechanics like smithing and soul matching, where you can pass certain skills and abilities onto new equipment. Though there is a silver lining: if you're a person that tends to blow through games like Nioh very quickly, you're probably not going to notice too much. On the other hand, what you will notice about Nero II is that it remains an awesome follow-up to the original that improves itself on every conceivable level, from the game's performance, unrelenting challenge, and the rich, creamy gameplay goop in the middle. If you've been on the fence about Nero II, I highly urge you to get on it immediately and come experience immense gaming bliss.
Now, I think you did a very good job. I'm going to call it out right now.
Thanks, Dad.
Of avoiding using any comparison to From Software games.
I did mention Bloodborne,
you did,
so
but,
not
yeah,
quite, but
yes,
points for trying.
But yeah, so, because I think that is the thing. Everyone, when Nioh 1 first came out, they were like, oh, it's just trying to do the Bloodborne thing. And I would argue that it does enough its own Ninja Gaiden-y thing that it stands alone. And I think that's what works for Nioh, is the fact that because it plays so fast, because it plays so borderline aggressively, Bloodborne is a good comparison. It's probably the From Software game that most emulates it, despite obviously sharing that kind of setting with Sekiro. But it's always been that thing with Nioh that's annoyed me, is I hate Blizzard loot systems, and what does it have? A goddamn Blizzard loot system.
You know the reason why? The developers were questioned on it by by journalists, and
Yeah.
they're just like, we like Diablo, and that's it. It's just a labor of love for them.
It reminds me of Darksiders 1 and 2. Darksiders 2 is a good game, but like, God, that loot system as well. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why they decided that was what they were going to do.
Yeah, it's just a lot of gunk. It
Yeah.
didn't need to be there, but
And then your weapons become obsolete real like quicker and stuff like that. And I don't think it has to be Zelda where it's like you find one item and that's it. Like, but anyway.
my favorite part is being able to refashion the appearance of it. So if
Yeah.
you've got like a really badass looking weapon, you can change the appearance of
Yeah.
it without changing the stats. So
And
I like that.
Again, I think from watching you play it and from playing the first one and playing the demos and stuff like that, it still has that fast-paced style. And it's interesting because Nioh 1 was very much a Koei Tecmo game. It was released by Koei Tecmo. It did so well for them. I think it's one of their best-selling games like of all time, outside of remakes of the same series. Like if you
Given its
consider,
development cycle
yeah,
as
if you
well,
consider
yeah.
Dynasty Warriors as a series, it sold more. But if you consider Nioh as an individual game, it sold a lot of units. So it was a surprise for them. And then when they teamed with Sony, we've got this weird thing where it's their game, but Sony are releasing it. But that's what they do now. Like, they make most of their money making Muso games for other companies. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real. That's where a lot of their money comes from. So it's interesting to see how Koei Tecmo has changed even over the last, say, 10 years.
I mean, once you have that legacy, once you have that backing behind you, it's a lot more easier to kind of get that bankroll. And same thing with like From Software.
Yeah.
Activision were the ones that approached them about Sekiro, and then the rest is history.
And they were, to be fair to Activision, normally we are rightly able to shit on Activision. But to be fair to them, they just said, just make the game you want to make and we'll publish it. It's the same with the George R.R. Martin one, if that ever comes out as well.
Yeah, it feels very similar to that of like, well, Activision published a whole bunch of Tenchu games back in the day, back during the time where I believe From Software were developing it. So it feels almost spiritual in a way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're coming back for old time's sake, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, look, you've got a big few games ahead of you as well. You've got Resi coming up. You've got Final Fantasy coming up. Are you looking forward to it at least?
Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, I'm still playing Doom. I'm not ready for any of this, man.
Well, thank you, Cardi. And that is it for us for now from the RMIT studios. Unfortunately, due to coronavirus, we have been told that we have to maintain social distancing. And being gamers, we've decided that social distancing has to mean that we stay at home. So don't forget to check us out on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. You'll see all of the stuff that we're doing. We should have the brand new Japanese branch launched by the time you've seen this one, so make sure you look out for that as well if you want your Japanese content. But we'll hopefully be back in RMIT Studios very, very soon, and if not, we will still see you next week.